down.
Seeing go flying.
This back on the road today, I walked the Schmalzer's property for conservation. The water is so high.
Is there any ice left?
No, there was ice on our property a couple days ago. Nowhere down there.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Chairman.
Michelle?
I'm ready, sir.
Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like a motion.
You're still muted there, Andy.
Like a motion to allow 2 people remote on Zoom.
I make the motion to allow Alina and Anthony to join via Zoom.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I guess we have to do it individually.
Yes.
Okay, Letty?
Aye.
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 Alina? No, Alina doesn't.
They can't
She don't count.
Don't vote
They
on
can't
it.
vote yet.
Okay.
Always aye.
I'm an aye. Okay, the minutes from our December 19 meeting. Are there any corrections? So, at the bottom of page 3, it says, Letty said, the adequacy funds we received from the state represent about 12% of the total raised, meaning 12% of everything, including property tax,
Yes, the total for the, like, the total,
total funding for the budget.
yes.
Okay. On page 4, I guess the beginning of the 3rd paragraph, old business. It says, motion to Michelle. but it-
Yeah, got it.
Okay. And then at the bottom, at the end of that paragraph, the numbers, the number 39,976.
I think it's supposed to be 78.
Yep.
I subtracted 1 in the wrong direction. Good catch.
Only the difference between adding and subtracting means nothing.
I mean, at that point in the night.
39,000 something.
Any other comments? Still looking?
I think I'm all right.
I know you had asked me about the date, is this the date? Oh, we don't change this one.
If it's wrong, I wasn't asking about this, but it was the 10th, right?
Yes, I didn't know if you want to add the 10, it doesn't matter.
I can add that to this, tonight's.
I didn't hear that one.
It's just girl talk.
Oh,
I was just asking if she wanted to add the time for the Swayze budget meeting,
okay.
and she said she'll add it to the minutes for tonight. But it's
Okay.
not worth changing the
Yeah.
minutes in Alaska. I make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Second?
Okay, ready?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
Anthony?
Aye.
Alina?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. To accept the minutes as amended. Andy, do you have anything from the select board we should know?
I distributed a copy of budget year to date as of this week, for 2022. There are probably some still bills coming in, so it's not a final number, but we're getting close. And the board will start reviewing warrant articles next week.
And, so do you have any idea, there's gonna be a lot of those, or a few of those, or we really don't know?
You'll probably have your standard ones of capital reserve for building, highway shed, roads,
Do you do technology?
hardware, software, solar panels.
No.
No, solar panels. Well, solar panels, we still have to
Have to
pay
buy it
solar
out,
panels
right?
till,
June or
we
something?
gotta make sure we have enough money to buy it out.
Oh,
And then, roads. We have a few standard ones, but
So it's like almost a dozen then, is that?
I think our standard ones are like 5 or 6, and then whatever else.
Okay,
I don't, rumor has it the police department may bring in a full-time officer request. But
okay.
So he has, what, 8 now? Eight full-time and 4 part-time?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I know he talked about going to 10, but I didn't know if he had 8 now, or we need 2 more to get to what he eventually wants, but, or what he has now. Counting what happened last night, or Tuesday night.
Okay, thank you. Letty, anything from the school at this point?
No, our next meeting is on Monday.
Meetings on-
On Monday,
It's the next school board meeting, is that what you're saying?
yes.
Okay, and,
Is that on Monday?
It's on Monday.
yeah,
what day?
Monday, the
Thank
9th,
you.
at 6. Yeah, everyone should come. The co-op released a YouTube video that's a presentation of their proposed budget for next year. It's on their YouTube channel, if anyone's interested in that. I sent you the link, I guess you can send it to everybody.
Okay, I will, I'll send it.
But I think that's the only school related thing.
And the warrant articles from from Swayze,
We are finalizing them on Monday,
okay,
so I can bring them to whenever our next meeting is after Monday.
okay. Could you just email them to me in the meantime, actually?
Yeah,
please?
after we approve them, yes, because we still have to pick the numbers for the capital reserve funds.
Do you need another meeting beyond Monday in order to do that?
For the school board,
Yeah,
no. Well,
so in other words.
I don't anticipate us needing to.
Yeah. So in other words, Tuesday, maybe you could,
Yes, yeah,
Great.
or Monday night, yeah.
great, okay. Okay,
So when are we having a meeting at that, you're gonna have, you're meeting Monday night?
We're the school board is meeting Monday night. I think we have another,
January
Meeting.
30th is the budget committee's next meeting.
January
Currently.
30th?
30th, yep.
That's what I thought.
So it's a ways away.
Yeah, it's almost.
You say that, but it's really not.
It's gonna happen quickly, is it? Okay,
I believe it.
okay, I believe it too. Okay, next we're on to budgets, and anybody from the library here?
I think the whole library is here.
Should we open? Someone?
Yeah, you can have it.
I don't usually make motions.
I think it was already made. We just put it off,
Did we?
yes, because we made a motion to reopen the budget and I requested
Oh,
that
right
we
there.
set it for a different date, so it could be agendized.
Yeah, that's okay.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
So do we need a motion to, do we need a motion now to open
We were
the,
just discussing that, I believe we already made a motion, I just requested that we push it off
Push the
so
action
the library can be
discussing part.
present for the discussion.
okay, so that stands from last meeting now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, what would you like us to know has happened since,
Well, I have
the
three
last time we met.
pages, so we have worked on it. Well, first of all, I think everybody probably knows Janice Weirs, our library director, Laura, who is a community member, and myself, Liz McConnell, who is the chair of the trustees. So, and I guess I'll start by saying I'd like to thank Anthony and Jack from the BudCom for working with the library trustees and the Brentwood Library patron Laura for coming to what we believe is a strong compromise budget. We hope this compromise will be confirmed today by a majority of BudCom members and passed again by the select board with a majority as well. As for background information on the budget process, this same patron Laura, who has over 25 years of data analytics experience and an MBA in marketing, approached our library director with questions regarding staff retention and salaries of library employees. This then prompted research by our patron Laura, our library director, library trustee treasurer, who is actually out sick today, so we're sorry Melody can't be here, and myself, the chair, into a competitive set of libraries with similar populations and research for local hourly wages in nearby towns. This information was presented to you at our last meeting with BudCom and included data on the towns of Sandown, Greenland, Danville, Fremont, Deerfield, and Rye. So you might recall having received this presentation from us. So that was of different towns than what we're looking at now. The data sources for that and what we've done recently includes the most recent information available from the New Hampshire Complete Library Statistics Report, Rockingham County Occupational Employment and Wages website, Indeed website, which reports salaries in various industries and towns, Atrium Statistics reports, US and New England inflation stats, New Hampshire public tax rates, New Hampshire town median and mean household income ranks, library directors, and town administrator budget reports, and those are very important to us today. The initial analysis included on the library assistant director and library assistants was subsequently expanded to include the library director in order to provide competitive salaries for the entire staff. So if you look on page 2 of your handout, you can see that we have just basically the salary part of the budget in there. And at some point, we'll talk about the assistant level directors in the library page, because basically we reported that already and it was pretty much accepted. So in meeting with the trustees, select board and budget committee members to review the 2023 proposed salaries, the library assistants' 2023 hourly wage increases were considered appropriate. So what you see as the full-time employee there on page 2, the library assistant level 1, level 2, and the library pages. We looked at that, as you saw, we looked at data from sources, jobs that kids could get in Epping and surrounding towns. And I think it was pretty much consensus that those needed to change. So, so then so now we're looking at a revised set of towns to include Kingston, Sandown, Greenland, Danville, and Fremont, with the addition of Raymond and the removal of Rye and Deerfield libraries. That, we understand, is what has been done in the past for towns when departments had adjustments to salaries and just to keep them up to market standards. So that's what that's what we're looking at now. Kingston data, in addition, was considered a concern because 2020 New Hampshire library statistics were used as 2021 data was unavailable. So if you look at the last page, page 3 of this, you'll see that in red there are some things that are, and some notes jotted down about what data was available. So instead of using the 2021 or 2020 New Hampshire Library Statistics Report to generate the proposed salary increases, we were asked to contact, assemble, and analyze 3 years of hourly wage data, 2021 to 2023, provided directly by the town's library directors and/or town administrators. So again, we looked at town reports, we called town administrators, and we called library directors and people associated with the libraries. So you'll see that on page 3 of the spreadsheet. However, because 2021 Kingston data was not available from these sources as well, the 2021 data set would now be excluded. And as you see, it's written in red on page 3, all of those numbers were excluded. Fremont, which is in column I, was also considered to be an outlier and excluded, although we know firsthand from the director that the director is actively trying to get competitive salary increases for staff. It was recommended that the 2020 data collected and average for the towns of Kingston, Sandown, Greenland, Raymond, and Danville would be used to develop the baseline hourly wages for the director and assistant director. So that's what we came to. When we looked at all the data we had, we meaning Jack and Anthony, when we got together, we decided that 2021, because we didn't have the right Kingston data and because Fremont was totally out of whack compared to the other salaries, that we were going to not use that as part of the calculation. The director's salary was then computed as follows. The 2022 average hourly wage of $32.39 for the combined towns of Greenland, Kingston, Raymond, Sandown, and Danville was multiplied by a 7.5% COLA and merit increase to equal $34.82 per hour. So if you look at the average, you'll find that on row 3 of column K. That is the average. And then if you want to see the end number, that's in column L, row 3 as well. So that's how that was generated.
Is everyone following all this, hopefully?
Yes,
Okay.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like in Kingston, for the director, assistant director, and program director, they all went down in salary from 21 to 22? Is that?
They did hire new staff, so that is possible.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think what happened was they didn't have they didn't have staff there for the whole year, so the
I
salaries
see,
went down
okay.
because they had hired and
They
then
had-
people had left. Yeah,
Good
so they had
question.
gaps, yeah. Thank you.
So staying with the director for a moment, the purpose of that the calculation being done that way was to simulate what had been done for the other department heads in the previous year. In other
Correct.
words, the survey and the escalation with the 5 + 2.5. Anthony, is there anything more should be said about that, do you think?
I mean, essentially, I mean, we've looked at this 6 ways to Sunday, and I think we've gotten to a really good spot here. Essentially, what we did last year was we took for all of the other department heads, we took the wage from the year before, and then we escalated with COLA, and that's essentially what we're doing here. We're taking the wage before, which was 2022, we're escalating with COLA, Fremont, we pulled that out because that is an outlier, right? They don't have the same number of hours, they don't have the same number of staff, it's apples and oranges. So I think what we've got here is, I think it's representative of a good analysis. And I think our result is solid.
Anybody have any questions on director at the moment? Okay, assistant director,
Assistant director. So the assistant director's salary was computed similarly, with one exception. In order to compensate the assistant director for being responsible for multiple positions, including children's services librarian, program librarian, and young adult librarian, held by employees in all the competitive towns examined, it was proposed we use a different methodology. So if you look at column B, rows 15 to 22, you'll see all of the other, and those calculations weren't used, they're all in red, but they're salaries of people that are extra people over and above what we have as just one assistant director in Brentwood. All of those other towns have either a child, a program director, an adult director, or a youth director.
So if you don't mind me to say, it just to sort of sum that up, that we have one person doing the job of what some libraries have 2 and 3 or.
So you don't have a child librarian?
Kiki is considered the assistant director / youth librarian, which includes children and young adult.
So she does the work of all of those.
Yeah.
So the 2022 town average hourly wage of $22.18, which you can see on row 7, column K, was calculated from the combined set of towns of Greenland, Kingston, Raymond, Sandown, Danville. Then the same year's town average hourly wage of program and children's services librarian was calculated, including Fremont, to an average of $18.71, which you can find on row 11, column K. So next, the average total of the $18.71 per hour was divided by a factor of 3 to equal $6.24 per hour, and added to the $22.18 to total $28.41. Applying the 7.5% COLA and merit increase to this $28.41, the 2023 proposed total was $30.55 per hour, and that's on row 7, column N. So we've already answered questions about the director. If you have any questions about the assistant director, we'd be happy to take those. And we just want to say thank you again for all the time you have dedicated to the town budget, and thank you for your continued support of the library.
so any questions, any discussion?
I think a process question, so we've already approved the number. So so if somebody wants to change that number, they need to make a motion?
That's correct. I have a question for Anthony. Anthony,
Sure.
question, tell me what your numbers were, I have your original numbers, but at this point, what is it do we do a promotion for what would you propose?
So I propose what they've got as the amended budget. Now, I agree with the numbers that were presented today. And like I said, we've looked at this over and over and over again. Using New Hampshire Library data and using the process that we used last year for everybody else. So I think, what is it, 317,992.15
Yep,
Yes,
yes.
20,
is what we're
it's on
looking
the
at.
front page of this, Lois.
just making sure I look at the right ones.
So I would move that we approve that number,
Second.
unless there's other discussion. I mean, I don't know if you had any other
We can
discussion.
discuss it more
Sorry,
after we move
sorry,
to
Andy.
second, right?
Yeah,
Yep. We're out.
Michelle, what was the old number, do you remember?
I'm looking at it.
It's 326,914.88. So it's a
What was the
difference
la-
of, it's a
I should
difference
have
of
it handled, yeah.
$8,922.73.
Yeah, fully loaded, I figured it was something close to 12, 13, something like that. Anything else, Lois?
You answered my question, thank you.
Yeah. So I'd move that we approve 317,992.15.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. We're considering whether there's any more discussion or questions at this point.
Can you repeat that number that Anthony said? I'm sorry.
Which one?
I missed it.
317,992.15, which is what's on
It's the
the
first-
sheet.
Okay.
No, it just didn't sound like that's what he was saying. It sounded different.
It sounded
Okay.
like more.
I was looking-
How did that happen? Oh my God.
We're gonna move quickly, so nothing else changes here.
Anthony, back for a quick second to the directors. What is the hourly on that?
It's 3481.
And that's
It's on
from
page 2
April,
of the sheet post.
that's from April to December.
It's on page 2 of your sheet.
3482, 3482.
82, I
But
think.
I'm just looking,
Yeah.
what do you,
Yeah.
trying to match up my charts.
So you might, I'd sent a couple of emails out before with regard to some analysis that was done with regard to the state as a whole that was producing results that were in the 29 range. That's the state as a whole, right? So we were looking at library size, we were looking at number of hours, we were looking at town size, stuff like that. But again, that's the state as a whole. Rockingham is a relatively expensive county, so when we start looking at comps specifically within Rockingham County, and specifically within our area, the rate goes up. That 3482 is what we did, what we used for everybody last year. The process that we used for everybody last year. So it's down about $3 an hour from the original proposal. It's also right, incidentally, it's also right in the middle of all of our comps.
Like it's the average.
Yeah.
Does that happen?
Well, I mean, I guess by definition, right, Liz? It would be the average.
And under the assistant director, so you're saying basically it's the same percentage increase as it was originally? You're giving them actually a little more than, well, give or take?
No, less. The original, I don't have it on me, but
I do.
it's 37
It's
something.
50. The assistant was 50% increase originally, and the library director was 36%
Is that-
increase.
The line
No,
was,
library-
or
no,
the
the-
individual?
The director was 40.5,
Yeah.
and the other was
Oh, percentage
50.7.
increase. I'm talking about percentage. I thought you wanted a percentage.
Yeah, I do.
This is the old budget, Lois.
I was looking at the numbers that I had, but that's. Okay, we're good. Okay. And that does match up what I'm looking at. That's what I thought. You do. I had to make them bigger so I could see them. Okay.
Look on the next page, Lois.
Of this?
Well,
Or-
compare the same, yeah,
Yeah.
compare the old
She's-
one to the.
She's looking at this one.
No,
Oh, okay. Is there another page on that one?
no.
Oh.
I blew them up my own, so I could see them. So it was originally, the director was 40%, so it's down, what, 4%, which is 4%, I guess. And that is down 4% also, which is really,
So this, so, should I compare it to this one?
That's what I was doing.
Yeah, so the director is going down 10% from these two,
Right.
and the assistant director is going down almost 9%.
yeah, I was just looking at the numbers that I had, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I was not criticizing, I was thinking out loud, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
No, okay, I had my own, my mathematics A wasn't so great.
Yes.
I was a little bit off.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? If there is no more, we'll.
One question.
Okay.
That we're voting on the bottom line.
Can have as many questions as you want.
We're voting on the bottom line, is that correct? The
Yes.
300 and whatever it is, the 17?
Three hundred
But
and
with the-
seventeen thousand,
but with
nine
the-
nine two fifteen.
Yes.
Right, but with the changes in those line items, is that, we don't really have a say in that, I guess, but is that where the change, is that what we're voting
No,
on?
We just have to certify or approve that bottom line number tonight.
Right,
The library and the trustees have said that this is the way they're going to handle those funds, and that looks appropriate to us, who has actually spent a lot of time with these numbers.
yeah, that's what I'm asking, because we I know we can't change the line number, but that's their agreement, that's my understanding of this, that those line items would be that way.
Yep.
Okay, because once it's done, it's done, so how they spend the money, that's their prerogative.
If there's no further discussion, we'll do a roll call. Letty?
Aye.
Lois?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Anthony?
Aye.
Alina?
Nay.
Michelle?
Nay.
And I'm an aye. So, motion passes.
Thank you, thanks for your
Thank
help
you,
on this.
thank you, don't go away for a minute.
Oh,
Yeah,
Andy, can I ask a question as far as we go back to the select board, correct?
Yeah,
Is that next Tuesday?
yes.
Is that something that you'll need me there for?
No.
I'm on vacation. I would come back if I needed to, but.
do you need us to go, will you need us to go over all of this again, or?
No, just send this to Karen, and
Okay,
she
okay.
can distribute it to the board, and
Okay, that's great.
okay, amphitheater and the elevator, where does that stand, and do you expect a warrant article along the lines of one or the other, or both?
We do expect a warrant article for the amphitheater, yes.
Capital reserve, or do you know where you're headed altogether?
We do not know where we're headed altogether. We just had a survey completed and analyzed, and contrary to a lot of misinformation that's run out there, the architect that is working with us, as I said, just finished doing the analysis of the survey that was taken and the town input that was provided, and they're looking at drawing plans for an amphitheater that would include some of what the town is asking for, obviously paying attention to what people in the survey and people in the town, when we had the community meeting, said no to. So they're drawing that up, they're working on those plans currently, and we will be expecting to have another meeting to present
There'll be a public
overview of it.
presentation on the 17th at 6 o'clock of
Se-
this month, 17th.
17th at 6 o'clock
Yeah.
at the
Yes.
library?
At the
Yes.
library.
Yep.
And how does whatever your proposal going to be, does that then move to the select board as a warrant article? Is that?
So at that point, my understanding is we'll be showing the conceptual designs, we'll be entertaining, or the Ironwood would be entertaining Q&A. Any minor changes could be, looked at on that day, and then sort of a final plan will be made. And then he will help us come up with the warrant article wording, which we will then get back to the select board, right, by the 31st, if I understand correctly.
What are they looking at money-wise? What is the,
They haven't drawn the plans yet.
He's given us a
so
range.
he
you must
gave
have some,
us-
you must have a
he gave
ballpark figure.
Ballpark range, very loose ballpark range of 250 to 550,000, somewhere in that range. But
Well,
that's like right off the top of his head without looking
Right,
at
that's,
anything.
he hasn't
so-
drawn a thing yet,
No.
so again, the information that is out there, about $500,000, is just somebody making things
Now,
up.
if the warrant article fails, are you going to just, amend it to, just do the necessary repairs, the safety items, if the total, whatever it is, and it's certainly gonna be a whole lot different, I'm certain, by thousands, to just to what needs to be done for safety reasons. Will we do to amend the budget at that point and to lower to that number to get the necessary work done? If the budget
I mean, to my
fails it the way that you
understanding,
want?
we'd have to wait to see what the town wants. I mean, there's certainly opinions that are
No,
evolving.
what I'm saying is, procedurally, at the
Yeah,
warrant article, at the warrant article, when you, if it fails,
Yeah.
then you would you have a secondary, you would have another warrant article for just the necessary repairs?
Well, that's what, I
That'd
don't
be
think
a
we
year
can
later.
answer that. I think
Right.
that would have to first go to the trustees, and they would have to determine what the next step would be. That would be one option. Another option would be to try the following year, I would assume, right?
Right, if it fails, we can't put another warrant article in for another
For
year,
another year.
so.
You could run two simultaneous warrant articles,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
it would be if.
That's what I'm asking, exactly.
Oh,
Can't
okay.
you just amend the number if the first
No.
number fails?
What if it not fails, you
If
have
it
to
fails,
amend
you
it
can't.
before it
Oh, but you
fails.
can amend it first.
Before,
Okay.
but you could
But
run,
no means-
say, warrant article 15. If warrant article 14 fails,
I see.
would you approve
Right.
to appropriate so
Right.
much money?
Because right
And
now,
then if the first one passes, the second one's null and void.
Okay.
because right now, we have, the town graciously granted us $50,000 last year. We haven't spent very much of that, because we're still working with the architect for the plans, but that wouldn't take care of, making the amphitheater safe. It would
No,
still be-
that's why I'm asking.
Right, it would
Yeah,
still be
the
an
secondary,
eyesore.
that's what
So
I'm
have a
talking about, I'm
second-
asking.
Yes,
Yes.
sorry,
That's
I
exactly what I'm-
misunderstood you. Lois.
No, that's exactly what I'm asking.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So January 17th at 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock, that is a Thursday.
Will that be recorded?
Can record it.
We could
have
do
that.
it, yeah.
We have that technology.
That would be great. It's the same time as another meeting.
So we have a meeting scheduled on January 30th to deal with warrant articles. Do you expect to have something ready to
Yes,
talk
yes, we
about at
do.
that point?
Yes, we do. Yep,
Okay.
that is the direction. He's known of the urgency of this since we
Andy,
started working.
what date do you have the articles have to be in?
Seventh,
I think it's
February
7th.
7th.
Karen has asked us to have them to her by the 31st, so that we have that time to,
I can hear you.
I'm sorry, Karen has asked us to have those numbers in by the 31st.
So if the BudCom was gonna hear it, it would have to be to the board by the 24th, so the BudCom would have to have another meeting to hear any other warrant articles after the 30th.
Did the BudCom hear our first warrant article?
We haven't heard any warrant articles yet.
No.
When
No,
we did it
last
last
year.
Yes.
Oh, I don't recall that, I'm sorry.
Anything with a financial impact has to come before the FUDCOM too.
Sure.
So if it's possible for you to get your warrant articles to the selectmen before January 30th, then we can look at them at that date with the, whatever other warrant articles we have.
So January 30th?
No,
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
they'd have to go to the
You
selectmen
would have to
first,
get
so I
it
don't
in
know what that.
before-
So it'd have to be the 24th? Is
Yeah.
that- January 24th.
What day
It's
is
cutting it
our
right.
hearing?
Our public hearing is the 9th, which I forgot what the,
It's
February
Thursday.
9th.
yeah. So I mean, we
So
could do
the
it
only
before
other
that.
thing would be we would have to meet early that day to review that,
We could meet right before the meeting if we
Yeah.
had to.
which we've done in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have earlier
So what
meeting.
was that?
Well, it's, February 9th is the public hearing date,
Right,
so everything needs to be in place before
yeah,
the public hearing.
right.
So, I mean, we would rather hear about it on the 30th of January, so if you can deal with the select board a week before that.
Okay, so select board by the 24th and then BudCom on the 30th, I gotcha. Okay,
But legally, you have that extra week.
okay,
We would just have to hear it the night of,
the night of the hearing. Okay.
You would have-
Just-
you would have to hear it, and we would have to hear both?
yes,
Same.
everything goes to the select board before it comes here.
Right, but I can't recall doing both in the same evening. We've done BudCom once, but you'd already done it. But
No, we wouldn't do it in the same night.
that's what I thought you were saying.
And just so you know, if for some reason the 17th is a snow day, we've done a subsequent date of the 18th at 6 o'clock for that reveal.
17th,
Okay,
the next day.
Yeah.
Hopefully that we don't have another 3-day storm.
Right.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
So we don't go looking for a warrant article, so to speak. They need to just come to the select board and then they'll come to us. Theoretically, that'll all happen automatically.
Yes,
Okay. Okay,
well, it will happen automatically if they want money.
okay,
How do you
that
If you want
clarifies
money,
it
you
then.
gotta talk to us about it. Talk to us, talk to us.
Anybody else have any other issues to be discussed tonight?
I had a question about line items in the town budget. You can't change the words, you have to make a new line, is that how it works?
No idea.
Who would know that?
Karen.
I will ask.
Well, like, if you're asking about the town, about Brentwood newsletter, the town vote, the selectmen voted to put that line in with that wording. They voted at their meeting. Isn't that correct, Andy?
No, it's always been that, the way it's worded.
But it was, when you put it in the operating budget this last year, you put in town newsletter.
It has been
It's
that.
That line
always-
wasn't
It's
there
always been
before.
that way.
The
It's
line
always-
wasn't there before.
Yes.
Operating budget, you put it in.
Yeah.
I was there the night you put it in. You
That-
put that line item in.
It's always been there. We put money into it, but it's always been there. Because that's how we funded the paper mailings in years past, was from that.
Way
line
back.
item.
Way back, but
Well, not way back, last 2 years ago.
Last year was the first year that it wasn't in that line.
Half of it was, well, 3 months.
3 months. Okay. Okay, I will ask her.
Anybody, anything else? Okay, our next meeting is scheduled for January 30th at
Jack?
6 o'clock. I know, I'll come to that. And now, public comments.
I don't understand. I
Again,
can't hear you.
please, I'm sorry.
I can't hear you.
He's saying public comment.
Public,
Didn't even
it's
get that.
time for public
before
comments,
that.
and again, name and address,
The
please.
next meeting.
Yeah.
You were here right now.
Becky?
Becky Gunn, Block Drive. There's so many meeting dates floating around. Could someone be sure that they get on the town website so people are aware of those before a 24-hour notice? Because that seems to be how meetings are posted. Be nice to have advance notice for people who could not be here tonight.
They will also be on the minutes of this meeting.
But that's sometimes the 5 or 6 people plan ahead. They need to,
Yep.
think about if they want to attend the
Okay.
meeting.
I don't know, how do we get it on the
Our
web?
current website only updates when we post the agendas, so that's part of the new website we're looking at to be more user-friendly.
You could put it on the town Facebook page.
We could.
That would be nice to have advance notice, more than 24 hours. Thank you.
It'll be on the 30th at 6 o'clock.
But there were 6 or 7
It'll be in the
meetings.
minutes, it'll be on video.
And any of the dates that are known will also be in the next issue of the Brentwood newsletter.
Thank you.
Liz?
Liz Freya, South Road. I'm assuming Fremont was taken out of the calculations because it was an outlier, because it was way less than the other towns? Is that? Is that why it was
I think
taken
it said
out?
the hours were different.
Yeah,
They didn't staff the
the
same
hours
way.
were different, the staffing was different. There was just a lot that was different.
Okay, but it wasn't more, right? It wasn't an outlier because it was higher.
No, that
Well, it was an outlier because it's.
Okay,
it's the
so my other comment is
market number.
that the trustees oversee the budgets at the library. And it's not the townspeople or the select board or the budget committee's fault that they underpaid supposedly the director and assistant director of the library for the last few years. So So I'm wondering why they need to recoup, 40% or 30% in 1 year. Why can't they add, 10% increase this year, 10% increase next year, 10% the next year? Like, if it took 3 or 4 years to get this in arrears, and it's nobody's else's fault except really the trustees, why can't we take a bigger amount of time to get up to speed, I guess? Because it seems like really inherently unfair to the taxpayers.
So my answer to that, Liz, would be because you continue to fall behind. If you don't make it up now next year, if there's an increase, now you're still behind and trying to make it up. And second, do you get your mail every day? Because we don't wanna have this, that's because wages have fell behind and they can't hire people. So we'd like to keep the library open and pay people what they're worth. That's from the Board of Selectmen.
And we tried to do that consistently with the way the other department heads were treated, so. Any other questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Jim Hazard, Mohawk Lane. I have a question about the opera funds, and I mean, you're voting on a budget line items of cost. Does the budget committee, who determines what dollars come out of the opera funds that the town has and where it gets applied to? Is that the budget committee? Is it the select board? How does that work?
No, they don't trust us with any form of revenue. So that kind of is determined by the select board.
And does the select board just do that as a vote at a meeting, or does it go in front of the town as like a town meeting? How does they just?
I have to let Andy
It
say that.
it goes at a select board of discussion when we spend the money.
So it'll be after this budget is approved that you would do that?
It's already been done of where the select board plans to apply monies from the ARPA fund to subsidize the '23 budget.
That'll be clarified when the budget is presented. It'll be very clear.
So is it part of the budget process, or is that spending of the opera center?
It's separate because it shows as a revenue, so we have to appropriate the money, and then the ARPA money will offset the tax impact.
So next fall, when you set the tax rate, it'll show up as a revenue
Yes.
to lower the total.
So when, at the tax rate setting, the ARPA money will be there to offset the expense
Right.
as a revenue source.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Appropriated in a budget.
Yes.
Right. So Jim, the full amount of whatever those opera funds are used, the full amount will be appropriated in a budget, so it will show up in the budget. It's just that on the other end, as he said, the impact will be smaller. So the budgets that are presented have the total amount?
Okay, if there's no other business, is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn. That's what I do best. Only thing I do well.
And a second.
I'll second that.
Let's vote on it. Letty?
Aye?
Lois?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Anthony?
Aye.
Alina?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you all. Meeting is adjourned.
Aye. Thanks, Andy.
Good night.
Whoa.